questions that I asked you when you first came in and the responses that you had. So the first set of questions, I apologize. The first set of questions deals with the physical symptoms. And these are the kinds of questions: how often are you able to speak fluently? How often are you able to use strategies or speech tools? How often does your speech sound natural? Feelings, questions like, how do you feel about your ability to communicate? How do you feel about being a person who stutters and about the way you sound when you speak? Thoughts, questions like, people's opinion of me are based on the way I speak. How true or false is that? How much do you agree or disagree? If I did not stutter, I would be better able to achieve my goals. People who stutter should not take jobs that require a lot of speaking. And behaviors. How difficult is it for you to participate in the following situations: using a telephone, giving an oral presentation, telling a joke or a story in front of a large group? So although these aspects can be affected by stuttering, they are not necessarily affected to the same degree in all people who stutter. Today's question really is, what makes some individuals who stutter thrive, step forward, communicate, despite the severity of their stuttering, and others, despite the severity of their stuttering, seem to be more stuck in the vicious cycle, seem to be sinking down more into that whirlpool? For example, we know people who have severe stuttering symptoms and go on to be university professors, go on to be trial lawyers, salespeople, and they are moving forward with their life and their career using their voice and using their speech regardless of the severity of their symptoms. And then there are other individuals who are very smart, who know a lot of answers to the questions that I'm asking in this class today, and probably would rather not answer them, even though they probably have the most intelligent thing to say in this room, because of the ramifications, because of the experience, the fear, the embarrassment, or what they're going to experience when they stutter, and understandably so. Much research has been done on resilience in the field of positive psychology and its relationship to happiness, success, positive relationships, positive health, well-being, mental health, emotional health. A lot of research has been done in other areas in individuals with depression, individuals who have addiction disorders, and there's been tremendous success in the Penn Resilience Program with children who are at risk for behavioral problems, and they have worked on resilience with these children, and a lot of the research has been done in these populations, and the correlation is very strong. The relationship is very strong. There hasn't been much specific research done on the resilience and its influence on these issues that I'm mentioning to you with individuals who stutter, but it makes sense to us. Naomi Acorn and myself, she couldn't be here today, unfortunately, she was ill, but it makes sense to us that the cluster of characteristics that play into resilience will determine who not only survives these speech challenges, but actually who thrives against powerful odds. So we're just going to take a little look and review what I just said. How does resilience relate to stuttering? What makes some individuals who stutter thrive despite severity? And what makes stuttering interfere significantly with the quality of life in other individuals? Well, the answer today is resilience. A resilient individual forges on, thrives, does not allow the challenge to limit his or her possibilities, and ability to reach potential, is more likely to take risks, to feel the fear, and go forward despite the fear, again and again, until the fear lessens. Reach out of the comfort zone, follow passions for jobs and careers that require a voice. So the next question is, what exactly is resilience? And you probably have some idea, so just throw it up to me. How would you define resilience? Flexibility, good. I like that one. Need a little more height.
Being persistent.
Good.
Fighting back.
Good. What else comes to mind? Resilience.
Optimism,
Perfect.
courage,
Great.
Good group.
Yes.
I would say being determined.
Being
Determined.
determined. I'm going to stick my 2 cents in here, and I'm just going to put in giving ourselves permission to be human. Because a lot of people look at resilience and they say, gee, this is a person who doesn't really show their emotion, they're tough, they fight, but quite the contrary. Being emotionally intelligent and knowing your emotions and not being afraid to share is part of it. So I love all these answers. In fact, resilience is defined in 3 parts. It's not only defined as the ability to bounce back despite difficult circumstances. You all really encompass the 3 parts of the definition without seeing the answer. So it's bouncing back from difficult circumstances. It's steering through life's day-to-day trials and tribulations, because every day is a challenge. Some days are more challenging than others, but how do you navigate those bumps in the road? And reaching out, taking risks, moving beyond. So 3 parts to the definition, but taking into account all the things that you said, what are the characteristics that play into an individual being resilient? And positive psychologists have researched this heavily, and they found 7 characteristics, and you don't need to look at them in your handout, but they are in your handout and they're explained, that have been revealed to influence how resilient a person is. And some of us have some of these characteristics, some of us have more than others, and they're all different in different people. But here are the characteristics. So empathy, or the ability to read the cues of other people and the ability to really feel what other people are feeling. Emotional regulation and emotional awareness, knowing what you're feeling. Impulse control, self-efficacy, or the feeling that you can handle things and that you have proven that you can do things and you can manage. Realistic optimism, which was mentioned already in this room, and we're talking about not cockeyed optimism or Pollyanna kind of optimism. We're talking about optimism that's more rooted in reality, not blind optimism. Flexible thinking, which was mentioned also, flexibility. Can you see a lot of different solutions to a problem? Can you see a lot of different ways of looking at different things? Can you see other perspectives? How do you solve problems? And how do you interpret the events of your life? How do you look at things that happen in your life, adversity, and do you interpret it realistically? Do you analyze and interpret it to a realistic direction, or to the direction of worst case scenario? And then reaching out and taking risks. So the last 3 here are the ones that we're most concentrated on during this talk, especially the one in the middle, the flexibility, or the flexible thinking, and the ability to make realistic interpretations about the events in our life. Okay? If a person is, and these 3 are kind of related. Can you see how these 3 are kind of related? If you look at them, can you give me your thoughts on that? Share your thoughts with me on how these are related. Flexible thinking, relating to realistic optimism, and really relating to reaching out, because they really play into each other a lot. It's hard to even pull them apart.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Go for it.
linking them, I would think to be optimistic is to look at different options, and with different options, maybe then choosing which option you can reach out for.
Great.
Something like that.
Great. I love it. What else? Anybody else see relationships between these three? Any causal links between the three of them? Any causality? One would promote the other. If somebody is flexible in their thinking and somebody is looking at the events in their life from a realistic perspective, they are likely to be optimistic, because optimistic people do look for different possibilities. They don't look at things with blinders on, so they're not looking only at the glass half full. And so if they have flexible thinking, they're likely to be optimistic, and vice versa. And if they're optimistic and they're flexible in their thinking, then they're likely to be more likely to move forward and take risks. So we're looking most today on the flexible thinking and on the thought, since this is a cognitive model, and how it helps resilience. And so the next question I want to ask is, who is resilient? And I want to just show you a little film excerpt. So pay attention to these children speaking in front of a very, very large audience. Bear with me 1 second. Thank you. So what did it take for these guys to get up on a stage in front of a very, very large audience and do this performance? These are individuals who stutter.
Twinkies.
What? Twinkies could be, that's right. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good flexible way of thinking. What else?
Confidence.
Yeah. That's right. What else? Courage. For sure. For sure. And what kind of thoughts did they have to have in order to get up there and do this, to drive this behavior?
Confidence.
Confident thoughts. Thoughts that were resilient. We have thoughts going through our heads all the time. All of us do. It's what we call the ticker tape beliefs. It's a ticker tape going through your head all day, saying, I can't do this, I'm not enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not old enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not fluent enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not enough.